Hello everyone and welcome to our last day of Entei Charizard week in this Road to TCG Worlds 2016 series. Now, yesterday's video in Spanish caused quite a lot of hype. The game was extremely good and it was actually against one of the top Spanish players over there, so it got a lot of attention. And if you want to see more of this deck and see a really close match where there's a lot of tense moments and misplays from both sides and all of that, I really recommend you go watch it. Even if you don't listen to what I'm saying or anything, I think it's really worth it. It was a really fun match and a lot of people enjoyed it. It's probably one of the most active videos, if you will, with likes and comments and everything. So you might wanna take a look at it. Now, this top deck was pretty fortunate. We seem to be up against a Manectric deck, but I don't really know if it's Manectric bats or wow, there's two Shaman priced and a Charizard. I don't know if it's Manectric bats or if it's regular Mega Manectric, but here I'm gonna attach the DCE right away. Not gonna attach any Pokemon tools. Gonna play down my Shaman. Hopefully, yep, that's pretty awesome. Okay, gonna get rid of this or use the compressor to get rid of the fire, the Sycamore, and what else? Potentially another fire, although I don't think that's too necessary. I think just these two. Yeah, just gonna go with those two cards because I already have one fire in the discard pile. I am going to Ultra Ball. Now, ideally, I would get a Shaman here, but since the two other ones are priced, I'm gonna get an Entei. And I'm simply gonna... yeah, I'm gonna Blacksmith here to put a lot of pressure onto that Manectric. There we go, onto the active, and we pass the turn. So on turn 1, we already have 3 energy, or 4 if you count the DC as 2, on the active Entei. So that's definitely putting a lot of pressure onto my opponent. Now let's see what he does in response. This might be a quick game, it might not be. He's going for Hoopa, so I would imagine this is most likely a Mega Manectric deck. He did get rid of Rough Thieves, so yeah, this is probably a Mega Manectric version. And wow, he's actually using Gengar. I guess that's his way to defend against the Lucario decks. And I mean, Manectric does cover the Yveltal weakness of Gengar pretty nicely. So I do think it's a pretty viable option. Now he attached a Muscle Band. That's interesting. I can get a KO on this Manectric if I get 2 Muscle Bands, which if you've seen my previous videos with this deck, you know I will go hard in order to get out what I need to take a KO. And especially if he attaches an energy to the active Manectric, that will really put me far ahead. Yeah, he does attach an energy, he will deal 40 damage, but if I'm able to get the 2 Muscle Bands here, or if I had 1, I could use the Giovanni effect and get another plus 20 damage, and I'd be pretty nice here. But I don't think... I mean, I could get lucky and top deck the Muscle Band, but it's very unlikely. Now, he did get a full bench, he did get a Spirit Link there. Okay, this is great. I get a card that I can play, and if I get a Fire Energy, I can get an extra 2 cards. So I'm gonna draw 5 cards in search of the Muscle Bands. No Muscle Bands just yet, and unfortunately there's no more Shaman, so unless I got 2 Muscle Bands there, I was not going to get them. I wonder if he runs Flash Energy of some sort. I don't think he does. He probably also doesn't run the Mental Energy, is it? Or Mind Energy? the one that powers up Psychic or reduces the retreat cost for Psychic Pokemon. So that Ultra Ball is pretty useless. I will, however, get out my last 2 energy just because I want to be able to draw more cards with my Stadium. And here I can simply attach an energy to this Entei, and I can use Flame Screen to reduce the damage from my opponent. Now I will still need either a Verse Seeker or a Muscle Band off of the next 3 cards in order for me to get a KO on this Manectric, on the active one. And I figure he is going to attach an energy to that one though. I don't know, it's complicated. If he runs Mega Turbo, that would probably be bad for us as well. He might just want to do 10 damage and 20 to the bench, which is also definitely viable. He replaces my Stadium, so I won't be able to draw any more cards, and he's going to be able to heal his Manectric. So that's not good news for us. Definitely not good news. Because any real damage we do to that Manectric can be healed off. Now, if I hadn't used the first attack and I had used the second one, if he had flipped, if I had flipped Tails, he would have a KO on the Entei by attaching an energy. Fortunately, he has the Manectric powered up now, the Mega Manectric, so I'm not liking my position at all. I really am not. Those 2 Shaman Prize really hurt us in our chances to get things going. Okay, I do top deck the Acrobike. I did target this Entei, which is a smart thing to do. I am able to get 1 Muscle Band, but I don't think that makes much of a difference at this point. Okay, what do I do here? See, the thing is, I'm gonna have to sacrifice 2 Entei to just KO this Manectric, and he can simply retreat and power up the Mega Manectric EX on the bench. And if I do 30, his 80 from the bench Mega Manectric will still KO me. And he'll be able to heal. Yeah, I'm in a lot of trouble here. Gonna need 3 follow-up Enteis. So I'm gonna bench this 4th one. I'm gonna power up this one. And I'm going to hope... Gosh, that 20 damage. Okay, the flip here is pretty relevant. And what I need is either a Verse Seeker or something of the sort, perhaps, in order to reuse Blacksmith. I also need a DCE, yeah, in order to be able to 2-hit KO this Manectric. But if he powers up a second one and he retreats and starts healing off the damage, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. It's just I'm not dealing enough damage to take KOs. I don't have Lysander to control who I attack. And I don't even have enough Verse Seekers to power up an Entei beyond that 4th one. And my Charizard EX is in the prizes as well. So things are not looking good for us at all against G-Man. He does power up Manectric. So we promote our Entei, and unfortunately he will be able to get a KO back to back. Now, this DC definitely helps her case. And do I even want to attach the Muscle Band right now? Yeah, because this Entei will perish. So, gonna do as much damage as possible. Make sure it takes longer for him to heal off the damage. I flip heads, but doesn't really matter. He's gonna be able to do another 110 damage. And he's slowly, by the rough seas, taking that Manectric out of my attacks, out of range of my attacks. He has the Ultra Ball, so he's going to get another Manectric EX. And now either I top deck a Verse Seeker or I pretty much lose. because I won't be able to power up Entei. I won't deal enough damage to KO it. So, yeah, things are not looking good at all. It's too bad. You really rely on Shaman on this deck, with this deck rather, to draw cards. And just this game, we priced 2 of them. So that's never fun, of course. Never ever fun. I do have to promote Entei though. Now the best top deck I guess would be a Stadium, but no. Tap Battle Compressor, so the best I'll be able to do is 30 damage, which he will heal off and deal 80 back in return, and heal off his Benchman Electrics. So I'm gonna go for the forfeit here, because there's really no point. I was just never going to be able to deal enough damage to that Manectric, so might as well stop wasting my opponent's time, stop wasting my time. I know I usually tell you guys to not concede and battle it out until the end, but at that point, I mean, looking at the long term, looking at our hand, looking at our field, there really wasn't much else to do. If we had drawn Shaman, and we would have been able to draw more cards and get access to Verse Seekers and the 2 muscle bands in that first turn, where we had an opportunity to power up Manectric, or to KO Manectric rather. Basically, we were able to get such a strong start, and then we were never able to capitalize off of it. It really was unfortunate. I guess I did make a mistake by not attacking with Entei's first attack, or second attack rather, instead of the first one on turn 1. And that might have changed things quite a bit, actually. Now let's see what we're up against in this game. We are up against another Psychic deck. And in the poll for next week, Gengar Trevenant was the deck that ended up winning. So we'll be seeing a lot of Psychic decks apparently. It's getting quite popular, at least in PTCGO. I do get an extra card. No, I don't want to bench Shaman. And there's Ghastly. So it's actually the other Gengar. Now, he's going to put damage counters. He's not going to be dealing too much damage. So I'm going to attach the double muscle band to the Entei. I'm going to play the Trainer's Mail. I'm going to go for the Blacksmith, I guess. Yeah, or the AC. No, the Blacksmith. Or the AC. Gonna go for the AC, because that pretty much means we get 2 Shamans off for sure. Now, I'm gonna discard these 2 cards. I'm gonna get another Entei out. There's another Shaman, so this time only Charizard is priced. And I don't think we used Charizard once all week. Like, at all. Okay, so we shuffle that back in, so we draw an extra card. If we draw an Assault Vest, it's going to be pretty funny, but hey, what can you do? We do get the Assault Vest. Now, thankfully, we do get a Compressor, so I'm going to get rid of 1 Blacksmith, making it so that we can draw a Verse Seeker or a Blacksmith to power up Entei next turn. And I'm going to get rid of 2 Fire Energy in order to be able to get them back with the Blacksmith on our next turn. I'm going to attach the DC to the active Entei. I'm going to attach the Assault Vest to Shaman, I guess. Because I do have 2 other. Now to the Entei. I really don't know what kind of energy he runs. I know he runs the Psychic energy. But there's really... Yeah, I don't think he's going to be doing damage. He's going to either be a KO or not. He's going to be placing damage counters rather than doing damage. Now here I'm able to get another Shaman for 5 cards, and as you can see we are halfway through our deck. Now the game did freeze there for a little bit. A 5 fire energy shaman. That's PTCGO for you. Oh, it was actually 4 energies. 4 energies and another stadium. And I'm gonna pass here. Wow. So we're halfway through our deck and we still have a lot of useful cards left, but I can't believe what I got off of this shaman. That was pretty ridiculous. Not gonna lie. Plays a crushing hammer. Gets tails. If he plays another one, I'll be okay with the heads. Like, I don't like playing those cards, and I understand why people play them, like Crushing Hammer and Super Scoop Up and things like that. And if you get average flips, that's perfectly fine by me. But if you start getting 3 out of 3 heads or 4 out of 4 heads and things like that, it really starts to get very annoying very fast. So a tails there. I won't be mad if my opponent gets another heads, or gets a heads rather, next time around. But I'm very glad he didn't. Now, that's a Flowstone on Mewtwo, so hopefully no Mega Mewtwo Y, because Mega Mewtwo Y could be a problem for this deck. Not gonna lie. Now he plays down the Shaman, draws 4 cards. He wanted to waste the Super Scoop Up before the Shaman. I would have thought you would play the Shaman and then try to use the Super Scoop Up. I mean, it's a pretty good trade-off for drawing an extra card. You get a possibility of another Shaman, and if you draw cards like Ultra Ball and things like that, you are able to thin out your hand and draw even more cards. So that Super Scoop Up flip was pretty weird. That Floatstone on Mewtwo is also very weird. Not entirely sure why he's done that. He does want to save the Ghastly though. Oh no, he's going for a sleep flip. And he got another tail, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now here we can get rid of his stadium. We can draw an extra 2 cards to try and find that Blacksmith, but thanks to the two muscle bands, it's not too crucial. And we did get another Entei. We did get Shaman. Now the question is, do I discard my fire energies? No, there's already 4 in the discard pile. So I'm just gonna Shaman for 2 here. Hoping to hit a Berserker of some sort, or there's the Blacksmith, which I'm also pretty happy to see. I will power up my bench Entei now though, because there's no point in attaching an extra energy to the active one. We have 2 energy on our hand, so we will be able to use Heat Tackle if we need to. Everything on my opponent's board can be KO'd through Heat Tackle. Now the best card here would be a Lysander, so that we could take down a Shaman or potentially that Mewtwo. But we don't have any in our hand. Or even Ghastly. I guess Ghastly is the scariest Pokemon my opponent has, because he can evolve into Gengar, and Gengar can knock you out immediately if you have 3 damage counters, I believe. I think that's how his attack works. So now he did play an Ultra Ball, goes for the Galad. Okay. Galad is a very scary Pokemon, and seeing Galad, I'm guessing he does run double colorless energy. He might just use Galad in order for its ability, but I don't know. I don't think that's the case. He's just going to Shatter Shot for 30 and allow me to take another 2 prizes with Mewtwo. Oh wait, what? Why no damage? Oh, because I prevented 30 damage. Wow. That's pretty silly on my part. I just assumed I used Heat Tackle instead. Gonna remove once again his Stadium. I did get the Lysander, but I'm gonna save it just in case he evolves into Gengar or something like that. There's no pressure to play it just yet. Here I will keep the Blacksmith, and I believe I do have 2 more fire energy. 1, 2, yep. So I'm going to use the Blacksmith. I'm going to power up the other Entei. Or do I fully power this one up? Nope, I'm gonna split the energy. I will use Scorched Earth to draw another 2 cards. I'm gonna use the Ball Compressor. I'm going to get rid of the Shaman, the other Ball Compressor, and any Ultra Balls, because I don't think those are important anymore. Yep, those 3 cards. I might... Okay, I'm gonna keep the Shaman in, because I might need it later to guarantee a Berserker or something like that. And I do have the Ultra Ball in my hand. So here I'm just gonna Heat Tackle away, take another 2 prizes. I do hit myself for 30 damage, which does make it so that Gengar can one-hit KO me right away. But I don't think it's a big deal. I get 2 pretty amazing prizes with the double colorless energy especially, and the Berserker in order to use Blacksmith. Or if my opponent doesn't KO Entei, I do have 1 Lysander and the Berserker in order to guarantee there's always something I can KO with either Heat Tackle or even Flame Screen onto a Ghastly, because this Entei does have a Muscle Band, I believe. It's 1 Assault Vests and 1 Muscle Band, and Ghastlies do have 50 HP. So this game, unless something very weird happens, or unless he plays an Ace Trainer or something like that, it really should be ours. Oh, there's another Float Stone, so that's 3 Float Stones we've seen. No Spirit Link just yet, no Gengars. So I really wonder what my opponent's endgame is here. He does get the rare candy into Gengar. So will he KO Entei right now? I believe he will. Well, he can if he gets Stadium. Did he get it though? That's the question. Or he can use Sinister Fog. He's going to flip heads on the Crushing Hammer. That's pretty fair because he's gotten 1 heads and 1 tails. But yeah, he poisons and does 10 damage to each benched Pokemon. So that's perfectly fine. Now here I'm not going to Lysander a Shaman because there's no point. I mean, I'd rather take the KO on Gengar because it's the only threatening Pokemon my opponent has right now. I will Berserker for a Blacksmith. Use an Acrobike. There's another Berserker. Now, I think I made a mistake. I mean, it's no big deal, but I could have played this a lot more optimally, for sure. Now, could have retreated, Blacksmith. Okay, then, is it worth it KOing something else? No, it's not. Because I might miss a KO. Okay. What Pokemon don't I KO if this Entei falls? Mewtwo, right? Every other Pokemon I can KO with a Blacksmith and a Heat Tackle with this Entei by doing 150 damage. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna Lysander the Mewtwo. That will put me down to 1 prize. I have the Blacksmith. I have even the Berserker to KO the benched Ghastly if I need to with my Entei. So this should be pretty okay. We are down to 1 prize. We can KO Wofet, we can KO Shaman, we can KO Ghastly, even if we have to Lysander. So, and we can even KO the Gengar if we Blacksmith. So the only card that saves my opponent is the something like an Ace Trainer or a Judge, and we still have that Ultra Ball and we still have a Shaman left. in order to draw more cards. We would draw 3 cards. We can see the Sycamore is right there. We do have an AC on our discard pile. We do have, I believe, 2 more Verse Seekers still left. So it's gonna take 1 KO with Creepshow. Pretty funny, but yeah. All I have to do is Blacksmith, 2 more energy onto Entei, and that will be game. Or I can attach the DC, which I top decked, and that's the game. So 2 pretty quick games, I'd say. Compared to Monday and Tuesday, these videos are pretty short, and the battles were not as intense. But this can also happen with this deck. You win pretty easily, you get very solid strategies, or rather very solid positions in the beginning, or you get terrible draws, and or not terrible, but your deck just fizzles out in the middle of the match and you're not able to get out more resources, especially if you miss out on 2 Shaman on your prizes. So that will conclude this week. Thank you guys for all your support for the first week of 2016. This was a really great week. A lot of support, a lot of good comments. Many people liked the new thumbnails and everything. So you can expect a whole new deck next week. And that will be all, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. Alright, bye bye.